Happy St. Patty's Day, degenerates, and welcome to another episode of Boring Crypto IO, the place where I read you the boring crypto news every morning, Monday through Friday, so you don't have to. My name is Not Important, and I'm your host. Let's go. Not much going on in the news today, guys. We're pretty much going to talk about one thing. Bitcoin's pumping, and pretty much here's the reason why. A JP Morgan Chase used federal emergency loan can inject $2 trillion in banking system to ease liquidity crunch. This is what we're talking about today, guys. Let's go ahead and go into the market. We are at 1.34 trillion. I think yesterday we were 1.08. Bitcoin dominance up to 45.2. I said, if anything, I'm looking for 48%. I don't think it's going to get to 50, but 48% is what I'm looking at. The dominance of Bitcoin getting to 18.7% for ETH dominance, and 23 Gwei will get you an ETH transaction. Bitcoin 35% on the week. Ethereum 26. BNB 25. Bitcoin is outpacing the entire market on the weekly, but and this morning it is pumping like a savage. Why is it pumping? Let's go ahead and just jump into it. Bitcoin on the 1 hour right now. Again, we were ranging. We had this get the words out. We had this bull trap, came back down below 25 and started ranging between 25 and 23.876. Been rolling around in there for quite some time. Last night, after this consolidation right here, we blew up and pretty much have not stopped running since we popped off. Blew past my 25.434, blew past my 26.209 and my 26.507. I was thinking we'd get a little pullback here at that 26.507 just like we did last week, but no. We're finally starting to see a little bit of cool off. My next level of resistance I'm looking at is going to be that 27.290. And that's what we're looking at, guys. There's not too much to go into. Personally, I'm looking for an entry. I was looking for one around 24.7-ish yesterday. Did not get it. I should have just put a buy order at 25 to be entirely honest. But with these constant rejections, I was a little concerned. I am now hunting for an entry point on Bitcoin. See if we can get some kind of pullback. And before I move on with the rest of the news, and what I mean by that is because I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but yesterday or the day before, I was talking about how with what's going on with the Fed, with the dollar, with banks collapsing, I wanted to get some of my money out of the banks and put it into something that could hedge against the nonsense that's going on right now. Bitcoin being one of those. Gold possibly another. Yesterday, Mia and my woman went to our bank, Wells Fargo. I'll just let you guys know because this is a big bank. We'd actually called the day before yesterday and asked if we were to withdraw a certain amount, if they'd even have it. They told us to wait till the weekend, or wait till after the weekend. I didn't like the sound of that, so yesterday I decided, and it's not as, look, we took out a decent amount, but not like anything that should, not anything more than a bank should have on hand at any given point, right? Cash wise. With that being said, with the way they were telling us to wait to the end of the weekend, to me that was concerning and weird. So yesterday we decided to go ahead and just go pull out. We called the bank just to double check to make sure they had it on hand, so we didn't surprise them, because just show up, be like, hey, we're gonna take this money out, screw you guys, which is how it should be anyways. It's our money, it's whatever. Could not get through to anyone at the branch. Literally the call, we spent like 20 minutes on hold waiting for a real person. Eventually we got a recorded line that said that everybody's busy and to call and to call back later, which I thought really weird for one of the largest banks in the United States, maybe the world, Wells Fargo. We can't get a hold of one of your tellers at the branch. So we decided to just go ahead and head over there and get our money out. When we got there, first of all, they told us they couldn't fulfill our order, our withdrawal order, and we're ready to turn us around or turn us away. We said, no, we're not having that. And we asked what they could do for us. After a lot of hoeing and humming and pandering and talking back and forth to other tellers and managers, they offered us less than a fifth of what we were asking for. Now, mind you, we were asking for a decent amount, but nothing like we weren't asking for like 50 grand or 100 grand or anything like that. They offered us barely a fifth of what we were asking for. We said that wouldn't do. We asked for more, and they ho and hummed. They asked us to take a cashier's check. We told them to kick rocks. They said, you know, they gave us a bunch of lines telling us that they just didn't have it on them. They'd been hit hard with people taking their cash out. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. They also told us that they had put in an emergency cash order and were waiting for the money to show up, and they didn't know when it would get there. That to me is very concerning, that a bank, a regular branch, you know, a Wells Fargo branch that should have cash on hand, A, does not have it, B, told us they put in an emergency cash request and hadn't received it yet and didn't know when it would get there. So at that point, we took what we could get. Doing that and then hitting the ATM, we got close to half of what we were asking for. Because we went back to, as soon as we left the branch, we were right on hit the ATM for a substantial amount, or maxed out what we're allowed to take out of the ATM. They paid us in all 20s, which was freaking ridiculous. And I know certain people will say that this is because they don't hold so much cash because for the chances of getting robbed are less if they have less cash on hand. And I'm going to say that, yeah, that's a good line, but for what we were asking for, again, it was not that much. And I used to work in the banking system. I used to be a teller. I used to be hold a platform position. I used to be a personal banker years and years ago. Now, that sounds fancy. It doesn't mean shit. But I know how much money we used to have on hand. Now, it wasn't a ton. You know, maybe 100K in the branch for the day, if that. Yeah, maybe a little more, depending from the vault. But not a ton of cash. Like, we got millions and millions of dollars in there or anything like that. But for what we asked for, it wasn't that much. Now, the crazy thing about that is every single person we talked to the entire time, from like the 3 different people we kept getting pushed to, kept saying, well, we can just give you guys a cashier's check. No, we don't want a cashier's check. We want our money. I don't want to take my cashier's check to another bank and try and cash it and have them tell me I can't get cash. They absolutely did everything they could in their power to keep us from getting cash out of the bank. Super concerning to me. Screw the banks. We're out. So probably Monday, hopefully, I'll go back and try and get the rest out that we wanted out, and see what happens. Hopefully nothing crazy happens over the weekend. So, long story long, I don't know what's going on. Well, I mean, I know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen, but we weren't going to take it all out, but we definitely wanted something is better than nothing. So some food for thought, something to think about, guys. Now, as Bitcoin continues to pump up towards 27, damn, I'm kicking myself because I should have just put a buy order in at 25, but the resistance was looking strong. I went, just to let you guys know what I did. So with my buy order yesterday, I watched this consolidation cluster right here from those swing highs to swing lows. So I put a buy order right around here at 24.8. And because that's where we were swinging in and out of all day long. We were just boom, 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 boom. Like we hit it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times over yesterday. And I was like, yeah, it'll probably keep swinging. I'll probably get this filled. As soon as I put that in, was right when this candle started, and we pumped, came back down. I was like, okay, it's gonna come back down and get filled. Nope, we shot off. And I have been looking for an entry point ever since. And I mean, if you go to the 4 hour, these are all green candles. That is insane. So I'm hoping to get some kind of potential cool off point. Maybe around here somewhere. Around my 26507, 26209. Maybe get an entry somewhere in there. Just seeing what's going to turn into support, right? And buy at the support level. Outside of that, not going to spend too much time on ETH. It's kind of doing the same thing. I mean, it looks just like Bitcoin, but its swing highs we're still under. Bitcoin is leading the market right now. So the 1775, ETH has not gotten back up to it since everything pumped last weekend. And with Friday going into the weekend, it will be interesting to see what we do. Now, before I talk way too much more about myself and other things, why is Bitcoin pumping? This is the story of the day. Well, I'm going to start with this one story that I got, and this is what's going on. Now, the Fed, let's just say Congress, has tried to figure out every way they can to stop the Fed from raising interest rates. Well, they figured it out. They let banks collapse, and they decided, they say it's not a bailout. It is a bailout because they're printing the money. They decided to pump money back into these banks to quote unquote save depositors. Well, how are they going to get that money? Well, they quote unquote have already said that it's not going to come from taxpayers. It will, because every time they do this, they devalue the dollar. They're going to pump money into these banks. They're going to print money and give it to them. So, JP Morgan Chase, U.S. Fed's emergency loan can inject $2 trillion in banking system to ease liquidity crunch. In a statement issued by the bank, it stated that as the largest banks are unlikely to tap the program, the maximum usage envisaged is close to $2 trillion. Silicon Valley Bank, JP Morgan Chase & Co. in a note said that the Federal Reserve's emergency loan support bank term funding program can put in as much as $2 trillion of funds into the U.S. banking system to help struggling banks and ease the liquidity crunch. Which is the saddest thing. I know it sucks to watch this stuff unfold, but it's them that are doing it. They continue to play these damn games, these back and forth games, and we're going to talk about and show you how bad it really is in just a second. They keep playing these back and forth games, and to me, it's theater. It's a charade. With the hearing they had with Powell last week, they're basically turning back on the money print. They're basically pumping money. They're basically turning back on quantitative easing without saying they're doing it. They're saying they're saving banks and saving depositors. No, it was just a way to continue to print money. The usage of the Fed's bank term funding program is likely to be big. The strategist led by Nicholas whatever in London wrote in a client note, while the largest banks are unlikely to tap the program, the maximum usage for the facility is close to $2 trillion, which is the par amount bond held by the U.S. banks outside the 5 biggest, they said, as reported by Bloomberg News. As well as, here's the thing too, is they're saying that this is going to be a loan program, that if the banks take these out, they have to pay it back. That's bullshit. They're never going to pay it back. On Sunday evening, the Joe Biden government launched an emergency rescue of the U.S. banking system in an effort to halt contagion from the rapid collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. The Federal Reserve announced that they have created a new program to provide banks and other depository institutions with emergency loans. It's a loan. It's never going to get paid back. The Bank Term Funding Program, BTFP, they love acronyms, don't they? The new facility aims to make absolutely sure that the financial institution can meet the needs of all their depositors. The federal government aims to prevent rapid sale of sovereign debt to obtain funding. JP Morgan further wrote that there are still $3 trillion of reserves in the U.S. banking system. $3 trillion? Well, and you could put $2 trillion in, so we have $1 trillion left. Just spend that money, guys. Fuck it. which is mostly held by largest banks. There was tight liquidity due to Fed's interest hikes last year that included a shift to money market funds from the bank deposits, which we're going to look at here in just a second. JP Morgan strategists said that the funding program should be able to inject enough reserves into the banking system to reduce reserve scarcity and reserves the tightening that has taken place over the past year. The Fed will report the use of the program on an aggregate basis every week when releasing data on its balance sheet, the central bank said in a statement this week. Fed's interest rate hike. With 2 bank collapses in less than a week, all eyes are on Federal Reserves whether it would hike the interest rates one more time. Fed Chair Jerome Powell and his colleagues are in tight position on how to react in these times of turmoil, especially now after the fresh troubles of Swiss bank giant Credit Suisse. Last week, Powell signaled that the central bank might accelerate its interest rate hike campaign in the face of persistent inflation. Traders moved to price in half-point hike in the benchmark interest rate at the Fed's March 2022 meeting from its current 4.75% range and further rate hikes beyond. Traders now see next week as a split between a smaller quarter-point hike and a pause, with rate cuts seen likely in following months as turbulence, Credit Suisse, renewed fears, crisis, blah, 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 crippling U.S. economy. Okay. Yeah. They're totally going to pivot. And you guys, again, I'm not the smartest guy on the planet. I did take high school economics, though. The only way to curb inflation, the only tools that the Fed is given, that Powell is given, is interest rates. The goal of raising interest rates is to stop the flow of money. Yes, that means people will lose jobs. Yes, that means stop frivolous spending. Yes, that means a recession, especially with how long they've gone without doing anything like this. That is the pain of stopping inflation. You have to do that, right? And listening to these petty BS arguments back and forth about, well, aren't you worried about this and aren't you worried about? It's like, this is all you can do. This is the only tools that they've been given to do this. And I'm not like siding with Jerome Powell or the Fed. I'm just saying the only way to curb this inflation is to raise interest rates. Is for pain. That's it, right? So with that being said, the other side of the fence is more than happy to continue printing more money, to continue devaluing the dollar to what? Till we get to a point of hyperinflation? When is enough? Or is that their goal? Is their goal to completely collapse the dollar? Which is, I mean, it's more of like a conspiracy theory thought that you hear people saying, but I don't see anyone asking the question. So what's the alternative, right? Continue propping up the banks, continue propping up the market, right? So with that being said, we're going to look at the money supply. This is what we're looking at right now. So this is the assets the government holds, money in the market, et cetera, et cetera. Don't really focus on what the graph is, I guess, per se, of what the graph is doing based on what the Fed was doing with interest rates, right? So let's back out just a little bit because this will make sense, and then I'll zoom back in. So this is what we were doing pre-COVID with inflation and money supply, right? More money in this, of the higher this graph goes, the higher inflation is going. We were actually coming down, and then COVID hit, and we started pumping all sorts of low interest rates, pumping all sorts of money into the economy. COVID started to slow down, and then we continued. Stimulus, all the COVID relief stuff, money into the market, right? Propping it up, sending people stimulus checks, sending people free money, all sorts of stuff, right? All right. let's say April of 2022, start raising interest rates because we've got to tame this thing. It's getting out of control. I mean, that's damn near a straight line up. I mean, this is very much a straight line up. All right, so let's zoom in just a little bit, y'all. Open this guy up. So, interest rate hike, interest rate hike, interest rate hike, interest rate. Slowly starting to tame the balance sheet. March 8th to March 15th, with the injection of this money into the banks to save the banks, we have instantly shot back up. Over half of the work that we had done to tame inflation has been completely erased in a matter of days. These guys don't care about us, people. This is what I'm talking about. This is all bullshit. It's all a charade, all this back and forth arguing. These guys know what they're doing, and they want us to believe that it's one side versus the other. They don't care. They just want to stay where they're at, and they want to continue propping up the market and keep corporations on that high horse until your money is literally worth nothing. So that's really all I've got today, guys. This is why Bitcoin's pumping. People are looking for a hedge against this bullshit. We're looking for a place to put our money. We're literally knocking on the door of 27K right now. 26,999. We're looking for a place to put our money to hold value, and it ain't the banks, and it ain't the dollar. As cliche as it sounds, a lot of people I'm talking to are like, dude, go buy some fucking gold, go buy some Bitcoin. And that's where my head's at. I love real estate, but real estate's scary right now too. Last thing I want to do is get into a property with an insanely high interest rate at the top. I mean, this is the tippy top of the market, man. Before the whole thing goes upside down. And again, I'm not the smartest guy, but that's just where my fears are at. But with that being said, if you guys have been buying, oh, that was stupid. If you guys have been buying Bitcoin, congratulations to you. I am doing a terrible job right now. I'm sorry, y'all. All right, if you guys have been buying Bitcoin, congratulations to you, especially if you're buying down here at this 19,630 level that I had marked. I mean, I would say possibly take some profits off the table, but with what's going on, and again, I hate to be the it could go up, it could go down guy. It's such a dumb position to be in, and it's so cliche for anyone on YouTube, because I hear it too. You know, I'm a new YouTube channel. I'm just a guy that figured, why not? It just gives me something to do to wake up early morning and look at the markets. And I hate it. I hate it when you're looking at someone like, oh, it could go up, it could go down. Oh, and you're like, well, yeah. I mean, that's any day of the week. 27. We just broke 27, y'all. Whew. I need an entry point. Come on. Give me a little bit of a pullback. Give me some kind of sideways movement. Anyway, but look, when we move up this high, this fast, everything I've ever been taught says it's not, don't chase green candles, don't jump into the market. The caveat to that of it could go up, it could go down is we've also never been in a situation like this since I've been in the crypto space, where banks are collapsing, your money's being devalued, people are looking for a hedge against this garbage. And I mean, Bitcoin looking sexy as hell right now. So outside of that, guys, I'm gonna let you go, let you get on your weekend. Per usual, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't listen to me. I'm just some stupid guy on YouTube. But outside of that, if you do enjoy the content I provide here on Boring Crypto IO, please, by all means, subscribe to the channel. Turn on a little bell over here for notifications so you know when I do post a video. Watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, and I will see you guys bright and early Monday morning. Have a happy St. Paddy's Day if you are out partying and enjoying yourself. Guys, don't drink and drive. Get an Uber and Lyft. We're literally in a time, a day and age where there's no excuse. Don't be a fool. Don't be selfish, because You might survive a car wreck, but someone else might not. Whatever. Just have fun safely. Go be a shithead. I'm going to, but I'm gonna use an Uber and a Lyft. And I'll see you guys bright and early Monday morning. I'm out of here.